This is Hashtag History episode 82. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And welcome to what is now my first episode of season 9. I think we established last episode we actually are in season 9.
It's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Season 9. We're here.
We had to make a couple edits to our document to confirm what episode and what season we were on. Not to call anyone out.
Excuse me.
But it's like a lot. It's like a lot.
There's a lot. A lot has happened.
Speaking of a lot, this episode is a lot.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
from you.
this is you heard from the source directly that this episode is my longest, I believe, one-parter that I've ever done. Perhaps we should have done a spin-off series.
Yeah, I see the bar, like the scroll bar on the side of Google Documents.
It's itty bitty.
I just called it Google Documents. Google Docs. That is 18 pages.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah, so get ready, guys.
So get ready.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I can't even wait to dive into this week's topic. I've been wanting to cover this woman since we started the podcast.
Yes.
And not just because she and I share a last name, but because I just find her so phenomenal and so revolutionary and so inspiring. And that's what makes her story that much more moving and that much more tragic.
And honestly, to be fair, you were obsessed with her before you shared a last name with her.
I was obsessed with her before the most recent wave of fandom happened as well.
Correct.
I was an OG. Okay. This week we are discussing Selena Quintanilla Perez, an American singer, businesswoman, and fashion designer that would be credited as one of the most influential Latin artists of all time at a time when the Tejano music industry was largely dominated by male artists. She would break through this glass ceiling and become by far one of the most well-known Mexican-American entertainers to ever exist. Tragically, on March 31st, 1995, when Selena was only 23 years old, she would be shot and murdered by a friend of hers that had managed her fan club. Following her tragic death, her English crossover record titled Dreaming of You would reach the top of the Billboard 200, the first Latin artist to ever do so. Since then, nearly 18 million Selena records have been sold, and several movies and shows have been made to document her life, namely, of course, the 1997 film that starred Jennifer Lopez as Selena Quintanilla that would propel Lopez, also a Latin American artist, into the spotlight in like a major way. Mm-hmm. Was that super 90s of me to say?
Yeah.
In a major way.
Major.
This episode touches on all of our favorite things. A badass woman in history shrouded in controversy and corruption and tragedy. But before we bitty bum into this episode, I say we bitty bum into a cocktail.
Oh, girl.
You're embarrassed on my behalf.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Hashtag History, the podcast for both history nerds and history haters alike,
where we dive into history's greatest stories of controversy, conspiracy, and corruption.
All right. This one goes out once again to the one, the only, Alicia Gutierrez Romine, who bought us 3 cocktails in total. And is amazing and wonderful, and we love you so much.
We love you. Thank you so much for all your support.
Yeah. So this week's cocktail is inspired by none other than Selena Quintanilla Perez and her song, Como la Flor. Como la Flor Margarita.
Oh, God.
That's what this is called.
I can't wait.
We took some liberties here, right?
Yeah.
But the original recipe calls for freshly squeezed lime juice. We did lemon. Cream of coconut, which we did.
We did.
It was really hard to squeeze out, so I might have done less than the recipe called for.
Or more.
Possibly more. Tequila.
Of course.
Orange liqueur. And we did
blue curacao
instead of like a traditional orange liqueur, which gives it this really beautiful color that I dig, actually. An ounce of pineapple juice, lime wedges. Again, didn't do that. And then a coconut salt for rimming. We just did regular salt.
Yeah, lots of liberties, but regardless, it's a margarita that includes orange liqueur, coconut, pineapple. I mean,
what's not to love?
What is not to love?
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
10 out of 10 because it's a margarita. It's blue. It's beautiful.
It's blue.
Obviously. I mean, it's blue, so it's great.
Yeah. Mine's a little lower.
Why?
I don't know.
For no reason.
Couldn't tell you.
You know, the other thing that I do like about it too, as opposed to a traditional margarita, because it has the cream of coconut in it, it's like frothy-esque, or just like a little thicker. I just like the look of it.
I like that aspect a lot. Just not the best drink I've ever had.
Sure.
So 8.5.
Acceptable. I will accept your rating. You are wrong, but I will accept your rating.
The rating on the drink that I created.
You are incorrect.
And you have no claim over, but somehow
it's mine. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what? We've said this before with our seasons and stuff, right? Like, it's funny when you get to the end of a season where our average cocktail rating is like a 5. So far, I don't mean to jinx things.
You're going to, because we already know what the next cocktail is going to be.
I don't mean to jinx things. Knock on wood. Our ratings have been high.
They have.
We're two episodes into this season, and we've had excellent cocktails.
I'm going to ruin it next episode.
Well, thanks for that. Let's move on.
Okay. We will move on to the next cocktail. Get ready.
And then the ranking will tank.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, usually when we are covering a person in history, I refer to them by their last name throughout the episode, right? But Selena, I mean, obviously, she's such an iconic person. She's so iconic that she's known on a first name basis that I've, of course, decided to just call her Selena throughout the episode.
As many of her fans did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She was just Selena.
Yeah. If I were referring to her as Quintanilla throughout the entire episode, people would be like, who? Additionally, since this story we're telling this week primarily revolves around a singular family, it's going to get super confusing if I refer to everyone by their last name.
Yeah.
So this episode is like the one exception to my typical last name rule. So we're going to get to know everybody this week on a first name basis.
Yes.
Selena Quintanilla was born on April 16th, 1971 in Lake Jackson, Texas, as the youngest in her family of 3 kids. Her parents were Abraham Quintanilla Jr. and Marcela Ophelia Zamora. Selena was of both Mexican heritage and Cherokee ancestry.
I didn't realize Cherokee.
From her mom. As of 2019, Texas demographics show that nearly 40% of the state population is Hispanic. Texas and Mexico have a very intertwined history since Texas literally used to be a part of Mexico. Spaniards arrived and colonized the area in 1519, although indigenous people had lived in the Texas region tens of thousands of years before Spaniards arrived. Mexico eventually won their independence from Spain in 1821, but by 1845, the Texas region had broken off and joined the United States. Mexican history is so deeply rooted in Texas history, the term Tejano is used to describe Hispanic residents of southern Texas. It's also, however, used to describe a particular type of Mexican Spanish music. Tejano music was born in Texas, and it combines traditional Mexican folk sounds with other various genres of music. And all of this history is super important and central to the story of Selena.
I actually did not know that or make that connection, which it makes perfect sense. That Tejano music was
born in Texas. That was one really fun piece for me with putting together this episode was I even got to do a little digging into the history of Mexican independence and the history of Texas and stuff, just because it's all so deeply rooted. And again, like I said, so central to her story. I did. You got to do Selena justice. Selena's father, Abraham, was deeply involved in the Tejano music scene. He heard the Los Dinos band playing at a high school dance, and when he learned that they would soon be losing one of their band members, he inserted himself and asked to join.
That's like Queen.
Yeah, that's
Freddie
exactly
Mercury.
like Queen.
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. He ended up dropping out of high school and joining the band that would go on to have some successes of its own. For example, their second single, titled Give Me One Chance, would end up selling 150,000 copies and would be played on the radio throughout Texas. Abraham was obsessed with music. He's quoted as saying, "To me, music is a stubborn obsession. Once it gets into your heart, you'll never kick it out," which I really love that quote.
That's nice.
He would continue to play with Los Dinos for another decade before serving time in the U.S. Army, at which point he met his wife, Marcela, and then eventually settling down in Lake Jackson, working at a chemical company in the early 1970s. At this point, he and his wife already had 2 kids, their oldest son, Abraham, whose nickname was AB, so I'm going to refer to him as AB throughout the episode, and their daughter, Suzette. It was around this time that Marcella was told by doctors that she had a tumor in her stomach region that would need to be surgically removed. Before having the surgery, though, Abraham and Marcella decided to get a second opinion. And good thing they did, because the second opinion confirmed that Marcella did not have a tumor. She was pregnant.
Did not know this.
Yes.
What? How often did shit like that happen in the 70s? My God.
Terrifying, right?
That's
so
terrifying.
obviously, kudos to the second doctor for knowing the difference between an infant and a tumor.
Oh my gosh.
But even this second doctor was not without their faults, because this doctor told Marcella that she was having a baby boy.
I mean, again, it's not an excuse, but it was the 70s, guys.
Yeah. And it's still better to, I'd rather be told I'm mistakenly having a baby boy than mistakenly being told I have a tumor that needs to be removed.
Yeah.
Because they were under the impression that they were having a boy, the family had already prepared for a little boy, having already picked out the name Mark Antony. But on April 16th, 1971, when a little baby girl popped out, the parents were like, ew, shit. Or at least, that's me placing myself in this history. That's how I'm assuming they responded.
100%.
I can't confirm, but I think
also,
it's likely.
That's the human reaction.
Yeah. So having not prepared for a girl, they had no idea what to name her. A woman who had just given birth in the same shared hospital room suggested to Marcella that she name the baby girl Selena after the Greek goddess of the moon, Selene. And thus, Selena was born. Literally. And figuratively, but mostly literally. She was actually literally born.
I love that.
The goddess of the moon, Selene. How beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's just so neat how she came into this world. She almost didn't. And then when she did, they weren't prepared for her. And then just all the amazing things she achieved.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying what I'm about to say in a disparaging way, because I think it's pretty typical of a parent who has, obsessions and dreams to oftentimes project those same things on their kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So early on, Abraham was insistent that his children become musicians. One day, when he was teaching AB how to play guitar, Selena walked in at the young age of 6 years old, and she began singing along. Abraham instantly recognized her musical talent. When he opened his own Tex-Mex restaurant in Lake Jackson, he also built an indoor stage for his kids to perform on, AB playing the guitar, Suzette playing the drums, and Selena as the lead singer. Unfortunately, the recession of the 1980s would cause Abraham to have to shut down the restaurant and to sell their home in the face of bankruptcy. He moved the family to Corpus Christi and officially formed the family band Selena y los Dinos. In an effort to make ends meet, the band would play any and every gig they could find, from fairs to weddings to quinceañeras, even street corners. Selena and her siblings were doing all of this as literal children. In fact, there were teachers at her school that told Abraham that they would report him to the Texas Board of Education as they were worried about Selena working so much as a kid. She missed a lot of school because of the band's touring schedule, and when she was there in the classroom, she oftentimes looked exhausted. As a result, the Quintanilla family ended up removing Selena from traditional studies and had her do independent studying instead. And while on the road in the big old bus that her father had purchased and named Big Bertha for their traveling music gigs, Selena would end up earning her high school diploma at the age of 17, and she would also end up going on to earn a collegiate degree in business administration from Pacific Western University.
So that just shows you, I don't think her parents would have been upset if she didn't finish school, just based on the fact that they were pushing her music career on her and her siblings so much. But I feel like that was her taking her own.
No, she definitely had a dedication to education. And that was something that, as she became more popular, this famous music star in Texas, she would go visit classrooms and encourage students to stay in school. As a third-generation American, Selena grew up in an English-speaking household. In fact, when Selena began her music career, she didn't speak Spanish at all. But her father was insistent that she sing Tejano music, and she learned Spanish words phonetically. In fact, the first time she appeared on the Johnny Canales Show, a Spanish television show that showcased up-and-coming music artists, Canales actually gave her a hard time for not being able to speak fluent Spanish. Selena rose to the challenge, though, and she literally taught herself to speak fluent Spanish.
I remember that. And most of my knowledge of Selena is just from the movies, honestly. And like the show and
for
stuff.
most people it is. Mm-hmm.
At least of her like personal life. Mm-hmm. But that was like a huge thing in both the movie and the show, is like her feeling insecure or like not knowing Spanish and then learning it through her music.
Yeah. And like not only through her music, but she took on that additional dedication.
Yeah. Just like she did with her education.
Yes. She's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she oftentimes faced sexism within the Tejano music space. Like I mentioned in the introduction, the Tejano music industry was largely male-dominated, as Maria Gonzalez, a University of Houston professor of Mexican-American literature, is quoted as saying, quote, "Selena was one of those musicians who entered a musical field that was completely dominated by macho Tejano musicians," unquote. In fact, Selena y Los Dinos would be excluded from a number of venues in the early days strictly based on the fact that Selena, a female, gasp, was the lead vocalist.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah. But I mean, it was the atmosphere. All of this is just so amazing, obviously, in hindsight, since Selena is the reason why Tejano music became popular in the 90s, and it is because of her that it hit the wider mainstream audience. In 1987, she won the Best Female Vocalist of the Year award in the Tejano Music Awards. With the exception of the following year, Selena would continue to win the Best Female Vocalist award every consecutive year until her untimely death. These accomplishments are even more amazing when you look at them through the lens that Selena had never set out to become the queen of Tejano music. Like we already talked about, she grew up in a mostly English-speaking household, listening to her idols such as Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, Madonna, and Whitney Houston. Selena's dream was always to put out an English album, and she kept that vision in her mind as she continued in her successful Tejano career. When she was picked up by EMI Latin Records, she expressed her desire to do an English album, but was denied the opportunity to release a crossover album. This early in her career, EMI Records was not confident that Selena, who had made a small name for herself in the Tejano space, would be able to successfully sell an English album. That small name wouldn't last for long, though. In October of 1989, Selena released her self-titled debut album. With this album, she would reach number 7 on the U.S. Billboard regional Mexican album charts and would see more success than any other female Tejano vocalist to date. One of Selena's greatest successes was becoming a spokesperson for Coca-Cola. She was booked for a Coca-Cola commercial singing and dancing to a jingle that A.B. had written. And I'm just saying, because I had to do some research. It's catchy.
I haven't seen it. Should we pull it up?
Yeah, let's pause. Okay, we just listened to it. You agree?
Agree. Very f***ing catchy.
And now it will be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. Classic! I mean, yeah. She recorded the commercial both in English and Spanish, and the music has many of those same classic tones of the Tejano music.
For sure.
This commercial really changed things for Hispanic marketing throughout the United States. In fact, it is often referred to as a sign of the second wave of more targeted marketing that advocated for the buying power of Latino consumers. This commercial was a big enough deal that the Smithsonian actually has on display in their Hispanic advertising history exhibit some of Selena's clothing, as well as pictures from her Coca-Cola photo shoots.
Oh my gosh.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, big deal professionally, but now let's turn to things on a more personal note. This is where the romantic music starts to play. That was stunning.
No, it wasn't. That was nice of you to say.
I hope that you do echoing.
Yeah.
So it's right around this time, at only 18 years old, that she met a man named Chris Perez. Christopher Gilbert Perez was born on August 14th, 1969, so he was roughly 2 years older than Selena. He became a musician at a very early age, teaching himself how to play the electric guitar, and he certainly had an affinity for rock music. In fact, he actually did not like Tejano music at all.
Yeah.
But as a young kid living in Los Angeles and trying to make a name for himself in the music industry, he was offered a position in a Tejano music band in 1986. Desperate times call for desperate measures, as in we all need to make money somehow.
Yeah.
And Perez joined the Tejano band while still playing, his rock music on the side. When the lead guitarist for Selena y Los Dinos left the band in 1989, A.B., who had, heard of Perez and his music skills, recruited him. Mm-hmm. Initially, Abraham, Selena's father, was not a fan of Chris. It's a stereotype, but Chris was very much what you would consider a quote-unquote rocker. He has like the grunge look with the long hair, the all-black clothing.
Yeah, just look at a picture of me from,
13 to 14 years old.
13 to 16. And
whoa.
Well, no, 14 or 15.
Yeah, mine was like, it was a short-lived phase, 13 to 14, all black clothing, black liner.
Black
dark
liner
hair.
under the eyes.
For the very traditional family-centered Selena y Los Dinos band, Abraham feared that the rocker image might taint the brand. Nonetheless, he was brought into the band and became a close friend of the Quintanilla family. He became exceptionally close to one person in particular, if you know what I mean. Despite having a girlfriend at the time, Chris quickly got the hots for Selena. In fact, it was while they were on a celebratory trip in Mexico for nailing that Coca-Cola commercial that the two got to know each other on a deeper level, and they even held hands on the plane ride back when they hit turbulence, which I feel like that's like a literal Hallmark movie, right?
And that's like, granted, I only see it from like a Netflix / like movie perspective of it, where they like romanticize everything, but their like romance, at least as it's painted in those things, is just really sweet.
It's pure. It's
like
young.
Pure. Let's hold hands on a plane.
It completely reminds me of crushes or relationships that I had in my younger days.
Yeah.
It's just you got the hots for each other. It means like sparks are flying when you just hold hands on a plane.
Yeah.
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 I like the way that you said it's sweet. It's pure.
Mm-hmm.
It's young. So holding hands on a plane, total Hallmark movie.
100%.
Not quite so Hallmark, because we're going to talk about Pizza Hut here. But it was while they were in a Pizza Hut after returning from that trip that they both ended up coming clean with one another about their feelings, and they decided to give the relationship a go.
You mean it didn't happen on a rooftop?
No, it
during
was
sunset.
It was a literal Pizza Hut.
Oh, because in the movie it's on a rooftop during sunset.
No. It was over some mozzarella sticks.
I mean, like, let's be real. That's like much more real life. Like,
of course it is. Yeah.
Hut,
and
like,
again, they're young. So it's like not necessarily to call this a first date because they were touring together as a band, but like I know my like first dates were at not fancy establishments, I guess is what I will say.
I've been to like 2 fancy establishments ever.
Yeah. And it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not on a rooftop. And this is just what I'm going to say here is a complete side note about Selena, but just because we mentioned Pizza Hut, I felt that I had to mention this. Her favorite fast food restaurant was Jack in the Box.
What?
Yeah. So, like same, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we love that for her.
Love that for her.
And for me.
And for you.
And for us.
Yeah. I mean, Jack in the Box is up there for me, for sure.
Yeah. So Pizza Hut, Jack in the Box, had to mention.
Yes.
Anyway, Selena and Chris had a bit of a rocky go from the start. For one, they kept their relationship secret from the rest of the family, which that's really difficult when you are literally touring on the same bus together for months at a time. Selena knew that her father would not approve of the relationship, and so they kept it on the down low. In addition to that, about a year into the relationship...
A year?
Yeah. I know, they don't depict that well in media depictions, right? But, they make it seem like it was very, very whirlwind. And it was whirlwind. But no, we are talking about a year later.
Keeping it a secret for a year.
About a year into the relationship, Chris got himself in some trouble when he was arrested for driving under the influence. Sometime after that, while on tour with Selena y Los Dinos, Chris and some of the other crew members were wrestling while drunk, and they ended up literally destroying a hotel room.
And I'm sorry, I keep going back to the 1990s whatever movie.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny. They paint it as him like he's doing it intentionally, and he just like trashes the hotel room because rebellion. No, he just got drunk and wrestled.
Yep. The way that he tells the story is the other 2 crew members were the ones that were like really roughhousing, and then he was drunk, so he just like also kind of got involved.
Yeah.
But he ends up removing himself from the situation. The other 2 crew members stay in the hotel. He leaves, goes back home for the night.
Yeah.
Which is why the next day, the other 2 crew members, that had stayed behind at the hotel, they end up getting fired from the band.
Yeah.
Abraham, however, decided to allow Chris to stay. Selena and Chris, they did break up for a brief period of time due to this incident, but Selena shortly thereafter did take Chris back. But all would come crashing down when Abraham discovered the relationship. So, yeah, it's told a couple of different ways. Some say that it was her sister Suzette who's the one that spilled the beans. In Abraham's own book, he says that he discovered the relationship when he saw the couple hugging. Either way, he was not having any of it. When the relationship was discovered, he stopped the tour bus and kicked Chris off of it, leaving him in a Whataburger parking lot and telling him to find his own way home. For Selena, she was devastated. For Chris, he was like, meh. I know that's kind of like harsh to say, but it's like, I mean, he obviously cared about Selena, but he also is growing sick of the environment he's in. He's sick of sneaking around. He's sick of Abraham's authoritative approach to like essentially dictating his children's lives.
And in connection then his life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. By association, also dictating his life. Chris was actually kind of glad to be rid of the band and the constant stress and pressure.
That, Chris.
I know. I feel that for him, right?
Yeah.
Following the breakup, he settled in San Antonio with his family, and he was quoted as saying, for the first time in a long time, he actually finally felt at peace.
Yeah.
Selena, however, was miserable. I mean, she's like 20 years old at this point.
Which is like so crazy.
Chris was her first love, and so she wasn't willing to let him go. Even after her father fired him from the band, Selena still found ways to keep in touch with Chris, and in 1992 she met with him and insisted that they get married right away. Chris had a lot of hesitations about this, obviously. They were, for one, little babies.
Yeah.
At this time, Chris was 22 and Selena was only 20. Plus, I mean, is this like really the way to get back in her father's good graces?
No.
But the way that Selena saw it, they didn't have a choice. If they wanted to be together, the only way that they would receive her father's approval was essentially bypassing it and getting married and then just making him deal with it. So that's exactly what they did.
Eek.
On April 2nd, 1992, the couple drove to the Nueces County courthouse and eloped. Unfortunately for everybody involved, someone had seen the couple at the courthouse and they released it to the media, who exposed the truth on the radio within hours of the event, all before Selena had a chance to tell her own family.
Eek.
While things were rough at first, Abraham eventually accepted the couple and allowed Chris to join the band again, which, like, yay, Chris. That's exciting for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited for you.
So happy that you're going back to your miserable
existence.
Yeah.
So I think like any father would, Abraham had reservations about this guy. He's young. He didn't have much to offer his daughter insofar as financial stability was concerned. And culturally, Abraham feared that Chris would force Selena to stop her music career. In an interview that Abraham did with the Texas Monthly, he said of Chris, quote, "I saw him as a threat. What if they got married and he pulled her out of the band? All the work we did, all those years, would go down the tubes," unquote.
Oh, I know. This really bothers me because, again, it gives no say to Selena. It's like him basically saying, well, I didn't want them to be together because then that would mean Chris owned her instead of me owning her. And that's so up.
Yep.
And I know there's like cultural aspects to it. I
There's
know
time frame
aspects as well. But I'm just like, that's so up.
Yeah, it gave her no
feminist
agency.
In me is like,
it gave her no agency.
Yeah,
I completely agree. So, I mean, exactly what you just said. Culturally and within this time frame, it was not uncommon for the man to take on the role of being the sole provider for the household and not allowing the wife to continue to work and pursue her passions. But Chris never wanted that. In fact, he was quoted later as saying he wanted for Selena whatever she wanted for herself, and he was there to support her and back her 100%. It's just that her father didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know. The couple moved in next door to the Quintanillas. Again, yay, Chris. They moved into one of the 3 houses that the Quintanillas owned in Texas, and they started acquiring animals left and right. Eventually, they would adopt 5 dogs and a ball python.
Yeah, at least it's not like like lions and shit. Like
I thought you were going to say. And the way that my mind instantly went was a tarantula.
Oh.
At least it wasn't a tarantula.
Yeah, true.
They were young and in love, but that's not to say that their marriage was perfect. I think obviously with the lens that we have on this, we can see why, it wouldn't be. They were young, maybe foolishly in love. They began a relationship without the approval of family. And I'm not saying that every relationship, like you have to get the approval of your family, but I think for someone,
helps.
It certainly helps. And I think for someone like Selena that is so close with family.
It's so close, tight-knit family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That it certainly makes it a lot harder when you don't have that approval. The other thing too is like Chris and Selena, they're stuck together 24/7. They live together and work together.
Yeah.
When they weren't,
I've been there.
And it's a lot. When you live together and you work together, you never get space from one another.
Yeah.
So, for Chris and Selena in particular, when they weren't at home together, they were in the studio together. When they weren't in the studio together, they were on the road together. I mean, it's just not for every couple. It's not an easy life for every couple. And Chris has mentioned in later years that their marriage did suffer as a result of that. But they loved each other, and over time, things worked themselves out. In fact, Abraham even asked Chris to help him with managing a rock band that he had acquired later in 1993. So you can see the family starting to,
accept him,
get along. Let's make this a thing.
Yeah.
We are so excited to share with you all about Wild.
Wild is an art gallery that features artwork created by Native American artists. The gallery features all kinds of artwork, including posters, paintings, and prints.
And they have a really great filtering software on their website where you can filter exactly what kind of art you are interested in by artist, size, and tribe.
You can also filter by price point, and you'll find that they have beautiful artwork that fits all budgets. And this is a great time to check them out as we come up on the holidays. Art can be such a unique and special gift.
Wild is located in Austin, Texas, and they ship art from their online store nationwide. So if you order a piece of art from their website, they can ship it to you anywhere in the States.
So go check them out now at www.wild.gallery. That is wild spelled W-Y-L-D, W-Y-L-D.gallery.
I think for all of our fellow history nerds out there, one really fascinating aspect of history is
where the hell did certain phrases or words come from?
Right. Like, what are the origins of sticks and stones?
Or why do we say on the mend or moving the needle?
Exactly. If you would like to learn exactly why we need to mind our P's and Q's in a fun 30 minutes or less segment, you should check out the Why Do We Say That podcast.
Every Tuesday, father and son, Scott and Liam Kelly, explain the meaning behind everyday phrases.
And then at the end of each episode, they play a game of Word or Not a Word, where they bring on guest contestants and have them guess whether a word actually is a word or not.
You can find Why Do We Say That anywhere podcasts are found. So go check them out.
Hey, great minds think alike.
I wonder where that phrase came from.
Back to Selena's music career, because we haven't even touched on the half of it yet.
Literally, because we're halfway through the script.
Shortly after getting married, Selena would drop her album Entre a Mi Mundo in 1992, which would become known as her breakthrough album. Mm-hmm. This album would feature the song Como la Flor, which is by far one of Selena's most popular songs.
Also, what our cocktail is named after.
Was named after. We
because
finished it. Some of the greatest lyrics from Como la Flor are in English. I know that you have a new love. Nevertheless, I wish you all the best. If in me you didn't find happiness, perhaps someone else will give it to you. But I don't know if I will be able to love again because I gave you all the love I could give. Doesn't that make you sad?
Yeah.
The Entre a Mi Mundo album would remain number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Regional Mexican Albums chart for 8 straight months.
What?
8 months.
That's actually insane.
It is. It is. I mean, we can speak to, I was going to say podcast wise, but also musically and stuff. Like songs move around all the time. And the number 1 podcast moves between 1 and 3 every single day.
And I know like this isn't the same, but like the movies being in theaters, and I know it's very different now because of COVID, but movies are in theaters now for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Even if they're box office smashes, they're just 2 weeks and then that's it.
8 straight months.
Holy.
Number 1. See? This is why we are talking about Selena.
She revolutionary.
This album would become the first Tejano album with a female vocalist to sell over 300,000 copies. It would eventually rank as the second best-selling regional Mexican album of all time. Following the release of this album, Selena would embark on a massive tour that would take her through Mexico, where she would end up performing for some 70,000 people in Nuevo Leon. With her Selena Live album, which was recorded during a free concert at the Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi in 1993. Yes. Selena, with that album, she won a Grammy Award for the Best Mexican American Album. This album would also later win Album of the Year at both the Billboard Latin Music Awards and at the Tejano Music Awards. And then came Amor Prohibido. Not enough can be said about this album. We could have literally, I'm not even kidding, an entire episode about just this album alone, between the recording process, the production, the reception of it, and the way that it quite literally changed history. But I mean, like, who's got the time?
We don't.
No, we don't. So Amor Prohibido would release in 1994 and feature some of Selena's most popular songs of all time, including, of course, Amor Prohibido, No Me Queda Más, and Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. If you really want to understand why Selena is so iconic, listen to No Me Queda Más. Even if you know zero Spanish, the emotion that comes through in her voice is moving enough to understand the tone of the song. The song was written by band member Ricky Vela, who had fallen in love with Selena's sister and fellow band member Suzette. Sadly for Vela, though, he never expressed his feelings for Suzette to her directly, and she actually ended up marrying someone else. In a song about unrequited friend zone love, Selena sang, quote, in English, "And though I lived in love and completely mistaken, I don't care, because this was the love on my part, the most beautiful, the biggest love. And though you'll always deny it, for me, it was the most beautiful. It was the most beautiful."
Okay, why is like Tejano music so beautiful?
It's so beautiful. So like, we're both struggling not to cry right now. And in fact, actually, according to the family, Selena actually cried while recording the song in the studio because she knew about how Vela felt about her sister.
Yeah.
Another interesting behind the scenes story to come from this album is the story behind Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. This song was actually written as somewhat of a joke. The band was goofing around during a rehearsal, and Selena started singing a song about a fish swimming in the ocean that was originally called Itty Bitty Bubbles. This song was later converted to Bitty Bitty Bum Bum, which...
Itty Bitty Bubbles.
I love that. So Selena, she described this song eventually as, quote, "It's the sound that your heart makes when a man passes by. It sounds like Bitty Bitty Bum Bum," end quote. Don't you love that?
That's cute.
So that's what Bitty Bitty Bum Bum's supposed to mean. It's supposed to represent your heart beating. The Amor Prohibido album would be nominated for a Grammy, would win Record of the Year at the 1995 Tejano Music Awards, Regional Mexican Album of the Year at the 1995 Lo Nuestro Awards, and was the #1 album on the Billboard Top Latin Albums chart for 97 consecutive weeks.
It's crazy.
Amor Prohibido was truly revolutionary in its sound, in the way that the band evolved to maintain its traditional Tejano sound while also incorporating some pop and even hip hop sounds to it. And it was this album that would officially thrust Selena into the mainstream. In fact, the board at EMI Records saw the success of this album as their chance to finally offer Selena what she had been wanting from the very beginning, a crossover English language album. Behind the scenes, Selena began recording some English tracks. So we can't talk about Selena any further, of course, without talking about her clothing. I mean, am I right?
Am I right? Am I right? Am I right?
Am I right? In addition to all of her musical talent, Selena was also incredibly talented when it came to fashion. Any and every picture you see of her performing in costume, she designed those costumes herself. So I, of course, have uploaded a couple of pictures here for us to see.
All right. Oh my God. All of these are so iconic.
I know they are. I picked only her most iconic.
Yeah. So this is, for those of you not familiar, this is one of her where she's wearing like black pants that go like really high-waisted black pants, jeans or jeggings or something with a big black belt around it. And then she's known for wearing just like bralettes, bras, like decorated bras.
Yep.
Brasiers, if you will. So yeah, she's wearing the black pants, like a gold and silver encrusted black bra, and then like what would you describe it as? Like a sailor hat?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and it's just iconic. Like you see this image of her all the time. Second one, another iconic one.
Yeah,
she's wearing again high-waisted white pants with white cowboy boots, and again another bedazzled bralette.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And the third one, a little more conservative, if you will.
Sure.
Again, high-waisted. It's like this maroony, like wine-colored outfit, but it's fully sparkly, bedazzled.
Yep.
And it's like long-sleeved, big shoulder pads. I don't know how else to describe it, but check out our Instagram because
definitely
iconic.
And I feel like that last picture is like a lot of the time that's the picture you see of Selena or that outfit, like the kind of burgundy jumpsuit.
Yeah, burgundy. That's the perfect. Yep.
Is it's iconic.
Yep, it is.
It's iconic. So one of her longtime dreams was to open up her own fashion boutique. In 1994, Selena opened up 2 boutiques called Selena Incorporated, one in Corpus Christi and the other in San Antonio. In addition to selling merchandise at these shops, each shop also had full-on beauty salons with services for hair and nails and even massages.
Wow.
I know.
I want to go.
I know. She held fashion shows, and by 1994, she was in the works to get boutiques opened up also in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Someone that would become uniquely involved with these boutiques was a woman in her early 30s named Yolanda Saldivar. Leah just literally acted like her cat right now. She was an obsessive Selena fan, and by obsessive, I do mean obsessive. Yeah. Some report that her apartment was quite literally a shrine to Selena.
I feel like we all have like a little weird obsession with celebrities.
Yeah.
Like there's something weird that is going on culturally with celebrities and the people that are obsessed with them.
Yep.
I don't have a shrine.
Nope.
To Oscar Isaac's on my wall. Actually, I used to have a shrine to multiple celebrities on my ceiling, but I was also a teenager.
Yes.
And not a 30-plus-year-old.
That's the difference I was going to make is the only time that I would consider somewhat of a shrine, and it wasn't a shrine, but I did create a poster. We talked about this in one of our hashtag hangout episodes.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. If you join our Patreon, you can get access to those for $1 a month.
What?
Yeah. True story.
Crazy.
We talked about Heath Ledger and when he passed away.
Yeah.
So that is the context that I'm going to use here.
We were teenagers.
We were exactly.
I definitely did have shrines, actually.
Our small shrine that was to Heath Ledger.
Mine was large.
Okay. Our small to moderately sized to large shrine to Heath Ledger was when we were teenagers. And also it was like relevant to like he passed and we were upset about it.
Yeah.
This was a woman in her 30s that was like her apartment
was dedicated to Selena.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, no blame on Selena at all. She's the victim in what we're about to talk about. But like, I wouldn't hire someone who was literally obsessed with me.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that a bit, but I think that Selena is young. You know, she's so young. And I think also that she needed help in her various business ventures.
And here was someone offering to
and I also think that she's
needs.
Yep. And I think she's just a generally like trusting person.
She seemed like the sweetest, and again, this is all me looking at interviews and all this stuff, but like she seemed like literally the sweetest person.
Just a very trusting, open, welcoming person, which is the exact type of person that someone like this could take advantage of.
Yeah.
Yolanda called Abraham incessantly. Some say she called upwards of 15 times. Yolanda herself says she called only 3 times, which is still too many.
Yeah.
And begged him to let her start up a Selena fan club in San Antonio.
Please let me start a fan club of your daughter. Ugh. Like, just do it.
I mean, times are different, but like now, if you like a celebrity, you start up a Facebook page for them or something, you know?
Yeah, that's weird.
She grew this fan club to over 5,000 members in a very short period of time. The Quintanilla family trusted her completely and treated her as not only a business partner, but as a friend. I can see that you're having outward reactions, but I do think
it's all in hindsight, right? Hindsight is 20/20.
Exactly. It's all in hindsight. And I don't think like her family didn't see her apartment. Or, you know what I mean?
Right.
They saw her as someone that like, I super love Selena, which is great. You always want someone that like really supports you and your ventures.
Yeah.
And wanted to help.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I am looking at it from hindsight. If I was there in that moment, it would look like someone who very, very much supported and was excited about something.
Yeah.
Like,
would you want someone like that?
Yeah, you want that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seeing her success with the fan club and desperately needing help in the boutiques, Yolanda literally quit her job as a nurse and moved to Corpus Christi, where she was brought on to manage both of the shops. It wasn't long into this arrangement that the Quintanilla family started noticing several problems, both within the fan club and at the boutiques. Members of the fan club began calling Abraham to tell him they had paid for their memberships, but hadn't received any of the guaranteed membership perks in return. Simultaneously, employees of the boutiques were quitting left and right. Selena's designer, Martin Gomez, who worked at the shop alongside Yolanda, told a story about how Yolanda would just do like some weird shit. Like he would sew together a piece, leave for the day, and when he would come back, he would find that all the seams had been ripped out. I know. Weird sabotage that she was doing.
Yeah.
After doing some independent investigating, Abraham determined that Yolanda was the root of all the problems. He found that she had embezzled thousands of dollars between the businesses. He called her in for a meeting on March 9th, 1995, with Selena and Suzette at his side and confronted her. As Yolanda stumbled to come up with excuse after excuse, Abraham fired her and told her she better produce the necessary documentation ASAP or he would call the cops. So I think in a similar dynamic to what we have seen before, Selena was very trusting of Yolanda and didn't want to write her off right away. She trusted her as a business partner and as a friend and didn't like that her dad created such negative impressions of people right off the bat. In addition to this emotional tie that Selena had to Yolanda, she also had a financial tie to her. Selena had given Yolanda access to her banking accounts, and she needed Yolanda in her life if she wanted her important banking information. I know. And again, it's always in hindsight that it's like, you know, you look at these things
if she wanted her important banking information, that's essentially saying that Yolanda was blackmailing her for her banking information.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, Selena is super freaking busy. And so she gave someone else access to her banking accounts, trusting that person.
Yeah.
And that person is not willing to give up, like, yeah, here's your banking number.
The number,
here's
the routing
card.
number.
Yeah, here's the routing. Exactly. She wasn't willing to give up that information. But I think in hindsight, we look at that like, oh, gosh, you were too trusting. But in hindsight, it's hindsight. Selena was young and she was busy and she was a trusting, welcoming, open person. Unbeknownst to the family, just 2 days after this family meeting that they had, Yolanda would purchase a .38 caliber revolver with .38 caliber hollow point bullets. So do you know what hollow point bullets are?
No, tell me.
Okay, so I am not well versed in these things. So I talked.
Do you want to bring Nico in?
I talked with my husband Alex. Okay. Yeah, we could bring your husband in, and he could, I'm confident that he could give us the down low on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm confident that he could, as did mine. So I talked with Alex about it. And he explained them to me, and then he had me watch all these YouTube videos together to better understand them. Essentially, I learned that a normal bullet has like a round tip on it, right? But a hollow point bullet has like a hollowed out concave tip that at impact expands and explodes, almost forming like a mushroom-like effect.
Yeah.
Those are Alex's exact words. So clearly, Yolanda wanted to inflict additional damage. It sounds like Yolanda purchased this gun. Then when things appeared for the next few days to maybe be getting better between her and Selena, she returned it. But then when Selena started asking her again for financial documentation, Yolanda returned to the gun shop and she repurchased the weapon. The family followed up time and time again with Yolanda about producing the paperwork, but she stalled and stalled. On March 30th, 1995, Yolanda finally agreed to meet Selena at a Days Inn that Yolanda was staying at in Corpus Christi, and it was there that she promised she would turn over the documents. Selena and Chris rode together to this meeting. Chris waited in the car while Selena retrieved the documents from Yolanda, and it was on the drive home that Selena realized that Yolanda had not given her everything. So, unbeknownst to her husband, Selena made an arrangement to meet Yolanda at the same spot the following day, March 31st. Once Selena arrived early the next morning, Yolanda told her a horrid story about how she had been sexually assaulted while on a recent trip to Mexico. She told Selena that she was bleeding heavily from the assault, so Selena, of course, took Yolanda to the hospital to have a physical exam conducted. Medical staff was unable to locate any evidence that Yolanda had been raped, and Yolanda also changed her story while at the hospital, telling the doctors that she had only bled a little bit, which Selena overheard. The two met again at the Days Inn, where Selena once again demanded the documents. And this is me putting myself in her shoes, but I'm just assuming that Selena was beyond annoyed at this point. I don't want to assume exactly how she responded to all this, but just putting yourself in those shoes, she has stood up for this person time and time again, despite her family's warning.
Yeah.
And now this person has betrayed her trust in one of the worst ways possible by lying to her about a sexual assault.
Yeah, that's horrible.
We will never know exactly what went down in those final moments. What we do know, though, is at approximately 11:48 a.m., Yolanda pointed the gun at Selena. The bullet went through Selena's back under her right shoulder, puncturing an artery on the way. Based on her positioning, one can speculate that she was running away from the gun, or perhaps she was even calmly walking away and had no idea that Yolanda was about to shoot her. Selena ran from the room and toward the hotel lobby, screaming for help.
So she was still like running and walking at this point.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because we're going to bring that up shortly. Selena ran to the lobby, leaving hundreds of feet of blood trailing behind her. Once she reached the lobby at 11:49 a.m., she collapsed on the floor with her clothes nearly entirely, quote, soaked in blood.
Eesh.
From the floor, Selena told the staff exactly who had shot her and gave them the exact room number. Okay, so this is where I'm going to insert my own opinion. So if you've seen the iconic 1997 J-Lo Selena film, or if you have watched the more recent Selena series on Netflix, both of those depict this incident in a very similar way. They show Selena go into the hotel room and then just like never come out.
Yeah.
The scene just kind of fades from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like she goes in and then suddenly police lights start flashing and they don't show what happened.
And so, spoiler alert, if you have not seen the second season of the Selena series on Netflix, I don't know, skip like a couple seconds here so that I don't spoil it. But they do exactly the same thing as the 97 film does.
That's interesting.
So I wanted your opinion on that because my personal opinion, I think her running from the room and getting help for herself is so important and so central to her story.
And very characteristic, like very shows her character and who she was, that she was a independent, a fighter.
I agree with you. I think it's central to who she was as a person. So I talked with my perfect husband about this and he disagreed with me. So he said, in his opinion, the incident is tragic enough that we don't need to see those final moments of a young woman bleeding out and pleading for her life. It preserves her memory better to have the scene, like peacefully fade away after she reaches the hotel room. And it almost like glorifies the violence of it if we do depict the whole scene in the media. But I just personally, I'm going to assert what I said again. I really feel that it speaks to who Selena was, that she fought her way out of the room. She fought her way down to the lobby and she named her killer and the room where it happened.
Yeah.
I just find that like so moving, and I don't know if I want to use the word empowering, but it just really moves me.
I actually am leaning more towards you. Sorry, Alex. Like, I agree. I think it's integral to who she was and to her story. I would have respected it if one did that, but it's weird to me that both the newer Netflix version and the 97 version did that.
Chose to depict her death in the same way.
In the exact same way, it sounds like.
When it's just so... it's such a moving thing, a moving part of her story that after she was shot, literally it punctured an artery.
Yeah.
She still ran more than 300 feet, leaving a trail of blood behind her. to get help for herself. And she was still able to coherently say, this is who shot me and this is the hotel room that she's in.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The hotel staff attempted to stop the blood, but could tell that Selena was fading quickly. Despite the fact that the ambulance arrived at the scene in less than 2 minutes, yeah, it was still too late. They attempted to insert a needle in her, but the vein just kept collapsing. When she reached Corpus Christi Memorial Hospital at approximately 12 p.m., she had what doctors called a, quote, erratic heartbeat, but no other vital signs. Medical professionals tried to get blood flowing with transfusions, but couldn't. When they viewed her body more closely, they saw that that hollow point bullet had done its horrendous work. In addition to a damaged right lung and broken collarbone, the tissue on the right side of her chest had been, in the words of cardiac surgeon Dr. Lewis Elkins, quote, extremely contused and shredded. All the tissue was ripped, unquote. They continued to attempt to revive her, but could not. And at 1:05 p.m. on March 31st, 1995, Selena Quintanilla Perez was pronounced dead at only 23 years old. Back at the hotel, Yolanda exited the motel room and entered her pickup truck. She attempted to take off, but a police officer spotted her, pulled out his gun, and ordered Yolanda to exit the vehicle. She refused and thus began an over 9-hour standoff. Mm-hmm. Yolanda threatened to kill herself with a gun pointed at her head, but negotiators were able to defuse the situation, with Yolanda eventually admitting that she had indeed shot Selena, but that it had been accidental and that the gun had just, quote, gone off.
You're pointing a gun at someone. A loaded gun.
With bullets intended to inflict additional damage. Yeah. After her surrender, Yolanda was taken into custody. When the news broke of Selena's passing, the world mourned in remembrance in a never-before-seen way for our Latin artist. Radio stations began playing her music nonstop. The New York Times covered it on the front page for 2 days, and as one radio show host said, Tejano music is dead for at least today.
Okay, I'm like getting a little
I know.
A little misty here.
I completely agree. In the weeks following Selena's death, Texas Governor George W. Bush would declare Selena's birthday, April 16th, as Selena Day. Some 60,000 people would turn out for Selena's funeral and covered her coffin in hundreds of long-stemmed white roses, which were her favorite flower. Flowers and cards were left at the Quintanilla home. So many flowers and cards were left at the Days Inn that the hotel manager had to rearrange the room numbers so the public would not know in exactly which room Selena had been shot.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Later that year, on October 23rd, Yolanda was found guilty of murder after only 2 hours of deliberation, despite the fact that Yolanda continued to maintain that the gunshot had been accidental. She is now imprisoned in Gatesville, Texas, and will be eligible for parole in 2025. The legacy of Selena just cannot be expressed concisely. One way to really encapsulate it is this. The crossover English album that she had been working on at the time of her death, titled Dreaming of You.
I could sing it to you right now.
Dreaming about you and me. It was released just a few months after her death in July of 1995. On the same day it was released, 175,000 copies were sold in the United States alone, which was a record for a female artist. It reached number 1 on the US Billboard 200 chart, the first time this had ever happened for a Latin artist. Today, the album has sold nearly 3 million copies, which makes it the best-selling Latin album of all time. Her life has continued to be reflected in mainstream media, primarily with the absolutely iconic 1997 Selena film starring Jennifer Lopez. Despite the fact that there was initial criticism over the fact that Lopez would be playing the iconic Tejano musician, despite the fact that her heritage is actually Puerto Rican and not Mexican, most of this criticism faded away after actually seeing her in the role. It was this movie that really established J-Lo's movie career, earning her a Golden Globe and an MTV Movie Award.
I think she did excellent. When you see it side by side, it's like, okay, she did amazing. And I believe that it's also her singing in it. And no, it's not.
The only part that she sings is the intro to Coma La Flor. That's all she says in the whole movie. She does that, and the rest of it is all Selena. Yeah.
I was going to be like, she does such a great job. No.
Yeah. But she
did do a great job.
She did a great job. Yeah. I mean, she clearly studied.
Yeah.
Because she had to do Selena justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where are things now? As for the Quintanilla family, they continue to honor Selena through her music, through writing memoirs about her, and by producing shows about her, such as the recent Netflix series. Mm-hmm. Chris Perez remarried, although he's now divorced. He had children and wrote his own memoir about Selena titled To Selena with Love. Mm-hmm. This book caused a lot of controversy, however, as Chris did not run it by the Quintanilla family prior to publication. Not that he needed to, but that would have been a courtesy.
Yeah.
He also was working on producing a television series based on his book, but was then sued by Abraham Quintanilla, as this series would have been a direct violation of the estate properties agreement that they had all signed and agreed to following Selena's death.
Got it.
The family and Chris have exchanged some not so nice words via social media over the last few years, with Chris stating that the Quintanilla family is trying to erase him from Selena's legacy, namely that pictures of him have been removed from the Selena Museum. Selena's sister, Suzette, responded with an Instagram post showing picture after picture of Chris throughout the museum, totally debunking his allegations. As recently as September 2021, both Chris and Abraham have stated that all legal disputes between the two parties have been resolved, and it is their intent to work together amicably to preserve Selena's legacy.
I hope that's true, because I feel like that's doing a injustice to her memory.
Oh, yeah.
Like this whole like bickering. And
I think he's in a weird position that, you know, even if the family had completely adored him from day one, because of her untimely death, they weren't married long.
No, it was only like 2 years, right?
Yeah, so he was
3
only,
years.
Mm-hmm, so he was only a part of the story for a brief period of time. So, you know, his portion to the story matters so much, right? Like, he knew her in a unique and special way.
A way that nobody else did?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Yeah, that a way that her family didn't know her. But when you compare the two, her family, that is like, they're such a close-knit family that I can understand why there is tension between these two different parties trying to preserve her legacy, when it's like, we knew her entire life. You only knew her for a couple years, although he did know her in a unique way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Speaking of the Selena Museum, it's located in Corpus Christi, and it is, of course, on my bucket list of places that I hope to go one day.
Yeah, let's go to Texas together.
Not anytime soon. But when we do, that's where we're going.
Okay.
As for Selena's boutiques, both of them have sadly closed. The San Antonio boutique closed in 1999, and Chris Perez continued to operate the Corpus Christi location until it closed in 2009. This is kind of a sad way to end an episode, but I'm not sure how else to end it. It's difficult to end this episode because despite the fact that we've already been recording for like 7,000 hours, there is still so much to say and so much that was left out. This could have easily been a 3-parter episode.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
But I think I will just close it out by saying Selena was revolutionary, iconic, and groundbreaking. And I'm happy to see that her legacy continues on, even if it is because of that Netflix series, which in my personal opinion is so bad.
Again, like I said, I watched this first season and I have not had any intention of watching the second one.
Oh, and I watched the second one and I can't say my life is better because
I just have a lot of other shows and movies to watch on my list.
You know, and I would prioritize them over this one.
Yeah. I have been
rough.
Including rewatching New Girl.
It's still a greater priority. It's rough. Okay. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Hashtag History.
We will share the pictures that we discussed on the episode to our Instagram, and all sources used to put together the episode can be found on our website at hashtaghistory-pod.com.
Subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you used, share about us with your family and friends, and then be sure to give us a rate and review.
And then speaking of Instagram, be sure to check us out on there at #history_podcast, and you can also find us on TikTok. Check us out there at #history, all one word.
And if you're not sick of us yet, come join us over on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help support our books and booze supply. You also get access to some behind the scenes content, weekly hashtag hangout episodes, and we also mail you cards and stickers.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Should we shot? Ooh. Thank you. I'm so embarrassed by myself. I'm actually like, I'm grateful you did that. The only reason I didn't is because I'm comfortable, so I didn't want to lift my arm up. In fact, there were cheaters. There were cheaters. Spanish. Where? Oh.
Oh my God. I just realized that literally I said culturally, and then we talked about the time frame, and then the next sentence was culturally and within this time frame.
That's why I was like, exactly like you said. Blah, blah, blah. I know. Literally, word for word, exactly what you said. Yeah, exactly. Back to Selena's music career. Because
pause it right
you
here.
have to pee?
I have to pee.
Me too. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
I'll figure that out.
You'll
Back
figure it
to
out.
Selena's music career. Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico,
You
my
lovely
island, island of tropical breezes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So great.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
So good. Not to put any... It's that caused the smoke.